Hello, everybody. Andrew Taylor here. Today we have some special guests for you. I think this is a big treat for everybody. First of all, we have Hayden Hill. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So Hayden, tell us real quick about what you've built.
Yeah, so we started with Family First Life now, going on almost 7 years. And so, started out as a brand new agent, learned how to sell, sold, hit Hall of Fame, started doing social media, started, spreading the opportunity. And now we'll do about $13 million issue paid premium this month with I think we have about 1,500 active writers so far this month.
Amazing. So Hayden's one of the biggest in the industry. Now, Americo told me they were like, Family First Life is the number one IMO by far because we're pacing, like 300 million of issued premium or something?
Yeah.
And then he was like, but the next 7 biggest companies are FFL downlines.
Right.
So it's like, if you think about how crazy that is, and that's how it is with a lot of these carriers, like F&G came up to me. They're like, dude, we think you run one of the biggest agencies in the country and you're not an IMO. You're a downline of an IMO. And I'm like, yo, that's pretty dope. But you and Nina have done it better than probably anybody. You guys are crushing it. You're still actively selling, recruiting, training. And you met Edmund Bayard, who's our second guest on the podcast today.
Yep.
Thanks for coming in, Edmund.
Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, Edmund beat me in chess 2 times in a row right now, so I'm going to have to start practicing again. But you have a very interesting background, dude. I've listened to you and been very interested in your story. If you can tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I love the people business. I believe sales is probably the best personal development vehicle out there, and I just have a passion for it. My last endeavor was solar. I think I'm kind of known as the solar guy, and I chose solar in 2018 because out of all the opportunities out there, there's a million ways to make $1 million in America. That one felt good to me. I felt like it was an amazing offering for the homeowner. I love Mother Nature and the planet, and I believed you could make a handsome living.
Now, you also play the violin, which I think is pretty interesting. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I grew up in Paris, France. Started playing violin when I was 4 years old, and moved to America when I was 12. Played Carnegie Hall. Pursued a career as a violinist. That's what my parents wanted for me, and I think it taught me a little bit of discipline and putting in the work even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah, 100%. And then also another interesting fact is how many languages do you speak?
I speak French and Spanish. Yeah.
In English.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So the reason I want to bring that up is because there's a big opportunity for Spanish-speaking trainers and recruiters.
Massive.
Yeah. So like if you only speak Spanish, we're gonna get into what you're building here.
And they're so underserved.
So underserved.
Yep. I have 3 guys right now transitioning over from solar into insurance. They're so great at selling solar door to door, but they don't speak English, and they want to get licensed. They want to learn the business, and I think there's a lack of Spanish leaders in a lot of industries.
For sure.
Now, how did you guys meet?
We met on like Instagram, I think, just going back and forth. And then me and Nina were in Cabo. You and Chrissy were in Cabo over New Year's. And I think we both just saw we were out in Cabo and we're like, hey, should we rent a yacht together tomorrow? And we're like, yeah, sure. So did that. And then a few months later, you're in Scottsdale and you're like, hey, let's meet up and talk about insurance. And here we are.
Okay, now the big question, what's going on with solar and why did you transition to insurance and why did you pick Family First Life?
Love it. Well, solar, I'll forever be grateful to the industry. It's where I made my first million in a year, my first million in a quarter, pursued $1 million a month, couldn't do it. But solar, it's funny. It's an oxymoron. I was talking about it with one of my business partners this morning. It's not a clean business. It's just not. You always have someone that's upset with you. And to me, I believe branding beats sales 7 days out of 7. I've built a couple brands inside of the solar space. And unfortunately, people end up getting the short end of the stick. There's so many uncontrollables, and we just haven't been able to scale like we want. So you look at the amount of success that people from all different walks of life have been able to have in insurance. It's extremely inspiring. To me, Cumquat's a personal development company with a comp plan attached to it. I want to help people and lead them in the direction they want to go in. And in solar, you're at the mercy of installs. You're at the mercy of different state and federal guidelines and mandates, and ultimately, you don't know what tomorrow looks like, and the cash flow is pretty horrendous. I mean, people are excited. They can make their first 10 grand a month, 10 grand a week, 10 grand a day. But ultimately, it's very volatile.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, put it this way: in 2021, I was making $250,000 a month passively. We had a ton of momentum, so many guys climbing the ranks, and all of a sudden, Biden puts in child labor laws. All these panels get seized at the ports. Every panel has like some sort of Chinese-made part in it, and next thing you know, it just all falls apart. And then interest rates skyrocket, and installers start going out of business. Finance companies start going bankrupt, and the people business is hard enough as it is. I'm so excited to get into insurance because there's less uncontrollables. You can deliver on the service right away, and you don't have to worry about your guys getting paid for the work they've done.
Yeah, that's huge. Was there like, did you look at this for like a year or 6 months or 2 years and think about it? And was there something that made you go, let's do it now?
Yeah, extremely. I mean, I've looked up to Hayden and Nina for years. I remember seeing your green Lambo on Instagram.
You had a green Lambo?
For that video.
Oh.
Yeah.
But for me, I like to stick with something. It's tough, transitioning from solar. It's like, oh, what, you couldn't make it in solar. So you have to go try something else. Like, I mean, to be frank, I've made millions of dollars. I've done over $1 billion in sales. And I'm making the transition because we're owed almost $7 million in commissions, and a lot of that goes, most of that goes to the field. And I believe I have young kids that will never try a sales gig again because it didn't work out, and their parents get to say, told you so. Their grandparents get to say, should have gotten a hard labor job or done this or done that. And that just breaks my heart. And, of course, some of them will probably try something else, but...
Dude, I loved proving everybody wrong that was waiting for me to go, oh, it didn't work out.
Yep.
Yeah.
The question when you start selling life insurance you get from everybody is, are you still doing that?
Right.
And they're waiting for you to say no. And then eventually they go, okay, I want to do it too, because they're like, damn, this is legit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what are some similarities that you found between selling life insurance and selling solar?
It's all the same, man. At the end of the day, you're going to have to put in the work. There's nothing out there that's going to give you like instant, immediate gratification. It's still the people business, but it's pretty beautiful when you're able to pick up the phone and dial from anywhere in the United States. You don't have to worry about finding a trusted installer or finance partner. You're using the same carrier. All this systems and processes are the same nationwide. And I believe it's a business that can duplicate a lot more than solar, which is going to be different in every single state.
Now, what are some of the problems that you see people have coming into life insurance? Like, what should people look out for?
You know, I think everything rises and falls on leadership, and FFL definitely has something special when you look at how the leaders in the company have been working together for a long time through the peaks and valleys, figured out a way to stay together. And I would say you definitely want to ask to see a back office documentation-based conversation. People lie, numbers don't. I can't imagine being part of a smaller IMO where you're logging into every carrier individually, where you can't track your business, and where you're just, believing what some 20, 30, 40-year-old kid is telling you without actually seeing anything of substance or actual value.
Yeah, so now you're building your own brand, Cumquat Life, within our company. And what a lot of people don't know is we're 1099 self-employed independent contractors, and what you build, you own. So like you get your renewals, you get your overrides, you own your own business, the carriers pay you directly. It's literally like I like to say it's the best franchise on the planet. Like there's nothing better. And you need to get an insurance license to start, which is amazing, right? But when we talked originally, you told me like, what I'm looking for is the ability to sell, get people selling fast, recruit, and put them in a system where they have a high chance of being successful, where everything is streamlined. And I was telling him, I was like, I call that high speed, low drag. Like you don't have to worry about a bunch of stuff. Let's just make it easy for people to sell. And then he was like, yeah, I want to build my brand using this model.
Yep.
Now, your brand. Tell us about this brand.
Yeah, I mean, Cumquat's a fruit of prosperity in Southeast Asia. I believe that, 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, if you walked into a boardroom and talked about Red Bull to some high-level executives, they would have probably laughed you out the room. Today, it's one of the biggest brands out there. I feel like it's important to dream, and you want to just go out there and keep dreaming and take action on it. We've got a cute little energy drink, a hydration drink. We're coming out with a brain tonic that's going to be called Cumquat Focus. Nothing happens overnight, but at the core of Cumquat, we are a personal development company with a comp plan attached to it. We're a sales organization, and we're heavily invested in insurance now, just because it's a sure thing. If you put in the work, you're going to get paid by billion-dollar carriers. Some of them have been around more than 100 years. So at the end of the day, everybody likes to point the finger. Everybody likes to make excuses. They can't do this because of their leadership, because of this, because of that, because of the leads, because whatever. But, for the ones that are ready, if it's the right time for them, if they're serious, not curious about changing the quality of their life, if they're done making excuses, they can get into this industry and have an amazing amount of success. They're going to get paid no matter what. And it's crazy to think that we come from an industry where we do the work and we're worried about getting paid, and we're always trying to figure out a way to get the money we're owed.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love about our system and our setup is when people from solar or mortgages or real estate or whatever, they start looking at, our business. It's it's so simple.
Yeah.
It's literally you call the client, you have all the technology right there to underwrite quote, you do the e-app, then literally 15 to 30 minutes after you pick up the phone and call them, the e-app either approves or declines. If it approves, like you're done. Like there's no like further underwriting, no like, people you have to get approved. Like it's done. And then your guys get paid within 1 to 3 business days. So it's just such a simple business.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was first starting, when I first got my license, and the guy that was like the big recruiter guy was talking about like who has a better burger, McDonald's or let's say like Culver's. And everyone said, of course, Culver's. And he was like, but McDonald's like smokes and makes way more money. Why is that? Because it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
And in business and in sales, especially our business, simple wins. And I think that's why it's so easy to duplicate and just put people in the system and it's like plug and play.
Yeah.
Well said.
Edmund, what's the most that you've made in a month, like gross? Like for real, gross deposits? Gross,
not net. Gross is $330,000 in June of 2021. My net was really close to that, but of course, I write off a lot of my lifestyle because it's attached to the brand and what I do. That was as a rep, as a as a dealer, maybe a little bit more, but higher overhead. So higher gross, lower net. It's incredible to me how low the overhead is with insurance. These kids that are making $100,000 a month, $100,000 a week and above. I had a 22-year-old kid show me $926,000 in deposits, at the convention. Wild. He's only been in the business for 2 years.
Yep.
Doesn't have overhead. Sure, an office, blah, blah, blah. I don't care.
Office leads.
My payroll guy alone is $6,000 a month. Like there's, your pipeline manager is going to be another $6,000 a month. I mean, child, please. Insurance is incredible. So much is just taken care of for you. And if anybody out there is in solar and they're watching this, like keep selling solar. You're making $50,000, $100,000 a month. I love that for you. It's just so volatile, and I don't think it's long term. And for me, I got into solar because I want to help people, right? The homeowner, young Edmonds, and at the end of the day, every single day, we have an issue in solar. There's an upset homeowner. There's a house that's all messed up. There's a house that's not connected and not actually getting credit for the electricity they're producing. There's a homeowner that still has a true up bill, and there's a homeowner that's waiting to get installed. There's a homeowner that's upset with the site survey. And then there's a rep that's owed hundreds of thousands of dollars, $10,000 for work they already did. And for all of those reasons, I would encourage you to diversify and look into insurance. And you can be like, oh yeah, but it's I can't make a quick $10,000 commission, blah blah blah. Who cares, right? Don't look at things for today. Like, where do you want to be this time next year? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Well, I was making $100,000 a week before Donald Trump announced the big, beautiful bill. And all of a sudden, that same day, the bank we're using declared bankruptcy, and we have to pivot and find another bank. That's going to keep happening. It's been happening. And for all of those reasons, I'm telling you, like, if you could bother to show up to convention on January 28th and be in that room, more so than just looking at insurance with a 30-minute, 60-minute Zoom, or say, oh yeah, I already know about FFL. Oh yeah, I've already heard about the opportunity. Like, with who, how, where, what, when? I mean, at the end of the day, Hayden, Grady, Nina, Andrew, nobody's ever tried to like sell me on working with them, right? You've got to show up. 90% of life is showing up and 90% of success is showing up, and you got to be in the room, and you got to see the young 20, 30-year-olds that are new in this business, that have been in this business for a couple years and that have already built something of substance.
Yeah. So you went from making good money and then solar changed and it kind of everything changed for you. Is that fair to say? Or you had a bunch of problems?
Yeah, I've just had to rebuild so many times in the industry.
So,
I've had to pivot so many times, and every time the sales force gets hurt, obviously myself too. We're just, some of us are able to endure a little bit more pain, whatever.
yeah. My question is, what advice do you have to somebody that needs to rebuild whatever they're doing? Like they did something, it didn't work. Maybe they're hesitant about doing something else. What advice do you have? Because you're not scared to rebuild.
Yeah. That's a really good one. You just got to take accountability for everything. At the end of the day, it's a learning lesson. Your perspective makes you or breaks you. A lot of people will have a story of what happened to them. And if somehow you can turn that into what happened for you and how much of a blessing it was and it's been, and you trust in and have some faith, then you can get going. There's a lot of people, myself included, that have made some money in the past, and for whatever reason, they're unable to get back to work. Whether it's a lack of humility, or some sort of mental barrier. But I will say, it's very humbling to get into a new industry, and I decide to look at it like it's exciting to learn, to grow, to start over like it's day one. And it's never day one. You get to use your previous experiences, good or bad. You should channel those and figure out the positive. See how you can use your past as a positive and something you can leverage to put yourself in a position to win, rather than like the reason why you can't. Sure. And the biggest one for me growing up was the violin. I ended up going to jail at 18 instead of graduating high school, which was wild because I had scholarships to Juilliard and every major school out there. And when I got out, I wanted to fight UFC, get tattoos. You become a product of your environment. And I finally felt free in there too, because I didn't like playing the violin growing up. But my parents forced it onto me. And for years, as I became a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness for $12 an hour and tried different things, I was like a victim. It was always my parents' fault that I wasn't successful, that I couldn't make real money, blah, blah, blah. And it's not until I kind of turned it around and decided to practice some gratitude for my upbringing, and that I was in my mind like, hey, you learned how to play a pretty tough instrument. You can learn sales. And that I decided that I wasn't special. I'm not owed anything. I'm not going to be a victim anymore. And I'm going to do what others did so I can get what they got, right? It's like successful people have been through some stuff. We just think Hayden and Andrew are at the top of the mountain hill and, oh, wow, must be nice. Well, if only I started in FFL back in 2019, I'd be successful too. And ultimately, you have to be able to give, you have to be willing to and excited to give what they've given. And what's nice is we don't have to, right? The opportunity today is a lot easier, a lot better than it was back then, when you had to show up to houses that closed the door on you, even though you traveled and
100%.
Everything.
What you're saying is you use your misfortunate events as fuel.
Amen.
And dude, I used to make this thing up. So I'd be like, anytime something bad happens to me, I'm going to try to change the story, and then I'm going to tell people about it. So one time this company sold us a bunch of leads, and they were literally just names and phone numbers. Okay. And I'm like, and everyone's so mad, dude. We spent so much money on them. And I'm like, I'm going to work all 100 of these leads. And I'm literally going, and people are like, dude, get out. Like, I didn't ask for this. I don't know you. I did not ask for life insurance, nothing. Well, dude, one of the I think it was like the 30th appointment. I go there and the dude's like, "Well, I don't want life insurance, but I'm looking for an annuity." And the dude has 500 G's that he rolls over.
Dang.
And it pays me like a crazy commission. And I called everybody that was pissed off. I'm like, "Bro, I just ran through these numbers and I got paid X amount. How crazy is that?" So like, I almost like tricked myself into waiting for that turn of the story when something was not going good. Like I just kind of was like, I'm just going to keep waiting and use activity to see when it turns around.
Yep.
I love that.
So
attitude is everything. 99% of people there would have just had a story and been a victim. And then the 1%, they just turn it into gold.
Yeah. People wouldn't even believe a lot of it, you know? They'd be like, that's crazy.
They for sure
All
wouldn't.
right. Yeah. So you're building a life insurance agency. What is your plan? Who can work with you? What are you looking for? How are you planning on leading a sales team in this industry? What's the future look like?
Yeah. Really going after quality over quantity in the beginning. Want to learn the business, but I'll tell you, if you're out there, you got to look at this industry. You got to show up to convention January 28th because you don't know what you don't know. You haven't been there. You haven't met the leadership. You haven't seen it. You haven't felt it. It's like listening to your favorite concert on the radio, your favorite band or whatever, or actually being there live in the crowd. And I would tell you that your past doesn't matter and your skill set doesn't matter either. Like it just comes down to your mindset and the timing. Is it the right time for you to actually take your life seriously and go for it? You know, hunger and ambition is something that's tough to teach. If you wanted to partner up with our team, I would say we do a great job of showing you what's out there. You know, leaders are awake, aware, and dissatisfied at all times. A lot of people lack vision, and so their day-to-day is just mundane versus going all out, having a sense of urgency and having a desire to give. A lot of people are looking at a business like, what's in it for me? How can I benefit from FFL? What writing percentage can I come in at? What can you give me? Can you give me leads? If you come to the table with something to give, if you want to add value to something, like my dream has been M2B, you know, it stands for March to a Billion. And it's been my dream, and I haven't been able to do it in solar, obviously cumulative, but not annually. And FFL is going to M2B next year.
Yeah.
Right. And my philosophy is like, I'd like to be as big of a part of that as possible. Right. Maybe I'm a little late to the table for the first billion, but once you M2B, you know, you M2B square. Like FFL is not just going to do $1 billion a year. It's going to be a company that does billions a year. And you can be as big of a part of that as you want if you see it, if you feel it, and if you care about it. And, you know, in the beginning, you got to show up, right? If you want to do this business, you got to show up. You know, 90% of life is showing up and 90% of success is showing up. And it's not just about showing up, but it's how you show up. Do you show up with a top 1% attitude? When you get screwed on leads, when you try something new, do you take the approach of the 99% or do you go how Andrew Taylor went and he's like, I'm gonna turn this into a positive. There's gotta be something in here. And next thing you know, you find the annuity. But the thing is, you get in life what you're looking for. If you don't have a positive mindset and a desire to win and a desire to prove it, whether it's to yourself or a combination, then it doesn't happen for you. You're going to get what you want. You're living the life you want right now based on the decisions you've made. And the beautiful thing about sales and insurance, especially since we get paid within 24 to 72 hours, is you can change your situation in 30 to 90 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
By taking massive action and failing forward.
Yeah.
The guys that write 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month in insurance, they're not special. They're not skilled. They're literally following a simple script. They don't have to learn solar. They don't have to learn adders. They don't have to make a mistake about not adding an MPU or this or that. No, they literally get onboarded, get licensed, number one, which is just as easy to do as it is not to do.
Yep.
Then they get onboarded with carriers. And then if they have the humility to listen, they can study Hayden and Nina on YouTube. They even have a boot camp, and they just pick up the phone and dial. They follow a script, and they get through the nose until somebody buys. And then within 24 to 72 hours, they get paid directly from the carrier.
Yep.
And I've seen it. I mean, I just woke up to overrides this morning. I've been with you guys for maybe a month. And if we pulled up my phone, it was like 1,300 something in overrides today.
Yeah.
Must be nice. And of course, it's not going to cover my Chrysler payment or any of my like current overhead or lifestyle or obligations. But what happens 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Can it 10x? Is it possible?
Yeah.
For sure. And Drew, you always talk about how like 2.5 years ago, the industry totally like shifted and basically was like reborn with virtual sales. So I think that's something else. Yes, next year should be the $1 billion year for the company, but also it's like, dude, we've never seen anything like the last 6 months specifically with like the door-to-door and the solar guys and everything, but really the last 2 years where like now all the carriers are on board with telesales and it's like text codes and like all this stuff that makes it so simple. So you're right. I think it's like next year will be the $1 billion year, but at the rate we're growing, it's like, dude, what took us basically 12 years, right, to do the first $1 billion, I think it'll be a couple years after that where it's the second and the third and the fourth.
Yeah. 100%.
For anybody that's still watching this podcast, this is why you want to get into insurance. If you're in solar right now, I don't care if you make $200,000 a month, none of it matters. You're gonna grow a team. I've bought Breitlings, I've bought Rolexes for my guys. I've taken them on planes. They've all wheezied out. They've all gone to different installers and this and that, and I don't blame them for it. Like it's business. If you can't get paid, you got to go try something else. When you build a team with insurance, you're gonna keep it a lot more. Of course, people quit. People say no and leaders leave. Yeah. You're going to have that child that goes and like starts his own IMO. I get it. But for the most part, you're going to hold on to what you built in insurance because none of your guys that are actually in it, putting in the 18-hour days are going to be upset with you. And I think that's huge. And another thing is your network is your net worth. You guys know so many people in solar right now that are struggling. You know so many people in so many companies, and you can call every single one of them, and they're all owed money. They all have a horror story, and you can literally be at the forefront of this next wave that's coming with insurance. Yes, I mean the door-to-door transition into phone sales with life insurance will be one of the largest transfers of wealth we see.
Yep, for sure.
And wouldn't it be nice to actually put yourself at the forefront of that, to cash in on the wave?
With insurance, I think it's a needs-based business and it's a leads-based business. So needs-based, like solar's cool and like I like the environment too. And if it makes sense money-wise to save money, like cool, I'll do solar. But like you have to have life insurance. Everyone's gonna die. Like people have families, people that count on them. So it's needs-based, but then also leads-based, where it's like, Andrew, we always talk about it. We're both super, like, by nature, like, introverted. Yeah. So it's like, dude, if I had to talk to my family and friends and, like, knock doors, like, dude,
Never would have done it.
I probably would have phased out after a few months.
Edmund could do it, though.
You could probably do it. The third thing that I always talk about is the virtual aspect. So with, like, door-to-door guys, solar guys, pest control, whatever, I'm always like, dude, you can only, for the most part, hire the 18 to like 25-year-old, guys and gals. And so it's like looking forward, you could hire everyone being virtual, but also it's like, dude, when you build your team, like I was 18, 19, 20 in sales. I know what it's like. I was doing all the road trips and it was awesome and it was cool then. But it's like, dude, once you get married and you have kids and you have a family and you have a house and all this kind of stuff,
can't do it.
You ain't going to Chicago for 4 months out of the summer. Like that's weird. And so I think also for you door-to-door people, it's like you can hire and recruit everyone because it's virtual. And also they don't have to be 18. We have people in their 50s, 60s, 70s that crush it. And so now you're casting your web so wide where it's not just a small amount of people you can recruit.
Legit.
What he said.
Yep. All right, so we have another special surprise guest for everybody. So this podcast is just getting started right now, and we're gonna announce this is a fact. So, a female agency owner has the biggest agency in the world as a female agency owner, and that's a fact. So we're gonna introduce Nina Hill.
Let's go. Happy to be here.
All right, Nina, let's do this. Let's talk a little bit. It's a little off track, but how many female producers you've helped and agency builders, and how good of an opportunity this is.
Oh, it's amazing. I will say, Drew, I mean, Hayden and I have been doing this for almost a decade now. And I feel like early on, I was almost afraid to recruit my girlfriends into this business because we were door to door. We were in person, face to face. And I'm like, dang, like it takes a special kind of person to do that. And we talked about this the other day. You were like, now, dude, I probably wouldn't even let you go on the field because some of the stuff.
Hell
that
never.
we
After
ran
my
into.
experiences, I wouldn't let you go.
Yeah, 100%. So I think the virtual space changed the game for us. We have so many lady killers within our organization, but within FFL as well. Women making multiple six figures a month. Like, it's absolutely insane. So I'm super excited.
But how awesome is it to see? Tell us about what some of the girl producers have done.
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, like selling life insurance is amazing. But I think selling life insurance as a female is a game changer because, again, we're talking about something that we are really bringing up a lot of emotion into the sale. So we're really selling something that no one's ever going to be able to feel, see, use, touch, any of that. And as women, we're very just nurturing and loving human beings just by nature. So it's a very easy sale for us, honestly. I feel like we're not going to lie. I think we're better than the two. Sure. Sorry. But I mean, Caitlin Gardner's a perfect example of someone who came in, was making like $2,500 a month, was about to lose custody of her daughter. She came into FFL her first 10 months. She paid $750,000. She has an agency now doing over $2 million a month. Nicolette's a great example of someone that's blowing her agency up. She's a marketing genius. She posted on social media every single day for 90 days straight, went from like $150K a month to now $600,000 a month. So they're blowing it up.
What about somebody who's just a salesperson?
I mean, you can absolutely kill it, 100%. Like there's Anna Cattell is a great example. So she's 22 years old. She came on with us last year, and she was a full-time student. She was taking, I don't know how many credits a full-time student would take, working a full-time job, and she came in part-time. But I think the thing with coming in part-time is you have to be intentional with your time that you do have. Yeah. So she only had like Tuesdays and Thursdays to dedicate to this, but she was in the office on those Tuesdays and Thursdays. Her first month, she was able to make around $8,000. She was like, wait, that's way more than I make in restaurants right now. Her second month, she did, I think, $14,000. And then she was like, dude, I'm out. I'm not doing the restaurant thing. She graduated to college, and now she's just killing it. She's a $30K a month producer. But it's not easy. Like, you see her every single week in the office from, she gets there at 8 a.m. She doesn't leave till 6, 7 p.m. But that's how she's able to put up those numbers.
Legit. But, Edmund, think about how crazy this is. So, like, what to an average American family, okay, what could $5K a month extra do for them?
It's next level. I mean, it's everything, and it's unfathomable, and they don't even really understand how realistic that is for them. And I will say, some part-time people, they value their time, and they probably will get better results than some full-time people.
Yeah.
I
see it every day.
If you value your time and you're actually there to have some productive hours versus just being on your phone,
scrolling,
playing chess. Just kidding.
I mean, there's some full-time agents that are fake full-time, I guess you could say, that don't actually, they always say, like, are you dialing all day? Are you taking all day to dial? Like the other day, I know she won't mind me sharing this story, but I was in the office with a new agent. She was sitting next to me. She got to the office at like 10 a.m. And she was just scrolling, and then it was like 1 p.m. and she's like packing up her bag. She's like, I'm gonna get out of here. And I go, what do you mean you're getting out of here? You're full time, aren't you? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay, let me see how many dials you've made. She showed me her call log. She made 14 dials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, insane.
Which
but
takes 11 minutes.
less than that even.
And
right?
that same agent this week so far is what, over like 30,000?
Yep. For the week.
For the
but
week.
after
Yeah.
that, she like sat down and I was like, hey, you have, you're going to stay here for a couple more hours. Like dial the phone. And she made a couple sales because she actually dialed intentionally.
The reason I love this is because you don't have to recruit and you can work part-time and you could still make decent money. Because like you're looking at like 5 to 10 sales a month probably to take home on average 5K.
Yeah.
5 to 10 closes a month after chargebacks, lead expenses, all that stuff.
Yep.
But is that really that hard to do 2 sales a week? Is it?
No.
It's
Not
not.
at all.
So easy.
And it's super fulfilling. All right, Edmund, I want to go back because I forgot to ask this. What did you find after making a bunch of money and then restarting that are the true important things to focus on? Was it finances? Was it people? What was it? Like did it show you what truly matters at any point?
Restarting like in solar or with insurance or
With insurance, yeah. I'm saying like, did you realize like working with people makes me happier than having a bunch of money, or my guys making money makes me happier? Was there anything you discovered?
I mean, yeah, I think if you're doing it for the money, like I've never looked at my paycheck, on Friday, as we used to get paid once every 2 weeks and once a week. I think you gotta fall in love with the process and the journey. There's a lot of destinations along the way. But to me, what matters is having relationships that can grow. And I'm excited about insurance and the industry because not only do we no longer have to have the conversations about going away for 2 weeks for a blitz and then another blitz, and so homes don't have to be divided anymore. But people are going to get paid for the work they do, and so now we can have a better relationship since I'm never touching your money or responsible for you to get paid. But starting, you're never really starting over. You get to use your previous experience and everything. But I think that's what a lot of guys that have made money in solar are going to struggle with a little bit. And that's why you're seeing the young 20-year-olds that potentially didn't have the best red line or weren't making 50, 100 grand a month passively in overrides, but were still knocking doors and getting after it. Those guys are coming into insurance and they're killing it off their own efforts, off their own pen. They're experiencing the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 months and above. And then that speaks for itself. That's how you recruit. It's like people do what you do, not what you tell them to do. Those guys are better off than some old geezer like me even. Your production speaks for itself. It's inspiring. It's real. And now you have authority and you can sound off and you can, share with your guys what works, and you can be like, say this, no, say that. It's going to be really, really hard for you to come into insurance and build a business if you're not willing to pick up the phone and dial. And I'm sorry, but that's a lot easier than knocking a door.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's no women knocking doors. There's very, very few of them because it is dangerous. It's very dangerous.
I feel like too, it's like, solar and like door to door, it's all sales. Like you said, it's all the same thing. Like we call people, we read a script, like we're selling a product. I think though, with a lot of people and like with you, what's been impressive to us is like, you've made a lot of money, had a lot of success, but pretty much from like day one, you've been like, hey, I don't know insurance. I know how to lead people. I know how to recruit. I know how to market, but I don't know how to sell insurance. And so it's like, you drop your ego and then you learn it and you teach it. And I think that's with a lot of people, whether they're from network marketing or door-to-door or mortgages or real estate. It's like, yeah, you've made money in the past, but if you keep your ego, it's going to be hard to come over here and do it. But if you drop the ego and you have all the resources and people that can help you, it's like, dude, you can build it super, super fast, but you got to be able to, you know, drop that and be willing to learn from people that do it.
Yeah, so you just started. What's the biggest success story on your team?
Well, we're really just getting started,
That's
but
fine, but like, is there anything?
It probably has to be Pedro, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And what is that success?
Pedro, I think he's 25 years old, comes from a captive agency, so he's got insurance experience, but came in, fell in love with Hayden and Nina and the leadership, just got back from convention. He's on fire. And I think he had $24K deposit into his accounts.
Was he pumped?
His first 2 weeks.
Super pumped.
Oh, he's fired up because in his mind, he's like, dang, at my last company, I used to have to write like 75 to 100K to deposit this much.
Yeah, not only that, but he used to truly have to put in the 12-hour days.
Truly.
And he is, I would say he's working half as hard.
Imagine if he does the same.
Yeah. It'll be wild.
Okay, so now I want to talk to you a little bit about personal branding. You're big on Instagram.
Sure.
You're different in person than you are on Instagram.
For sure.
Like, I thought I was meeting a completely different person from watching your videos to actually meeting you in person. In person, I think I found out you really care about people. You aren't really that into... You're doing things to motivate people, like your watch. Tell us about your watch.
Show the watch.
Show the watch.
It came out in 2022, and I was like, that's the Cumquat watch. I wanted it at the time. It was trading for $450,000. Wasn't going to spend that. It came down a little bit, and was able to negotiate something in solar and make it happen, I guess, this year. Yeah.
So how much does that thing cost if someone bought it right now?
You know, when you get into the higher dollar amounts, like I bought a 5980, and then when one of my installers went bankrupt, in order to make payroll that week, I had to sell the 5980. Now in 2021, I was offered $325K for it. Said no, I'll never sell this watch. And then in 2023, I sold it for $165,000. So I tell everybody you should get a timepiece. Like my first watch was a stainless steel sub, and I bought that when I bought my first house. Bought my house for $399,000. This was like 10 years ago, and I ended up selling it for like $470 after paying fees and everything. I walked away with not very much. Bought my first watch, stainless steel sub, for $7,300. Sold it for $14,500.
Right.
Made like 100% on it. So, you know, the more expensive something is, the more margin there is, and blah blah blah. If you go on Instagram, they'll tell you it's a $350,000 watch. If I needed to liquidate it tomorrow, I'd probably get rid of it for $225. Who knows?
Okay, so, but you are good at getting people to watch you.
Yeah. So, you know, eyeballs. I think it's not what you can see, it's who can see you, and it's a double-edged sword. You don't need the flash, you don't need the watches and the cars. I loved this young man from stage at FFL who talked about it.
I loved that too.
And it's
what do you say?
Something along the lines of, you know, it's all BS, or but I'll tell you guys right now, you do not need a car to build a business, or I would buy you one. Okay? You don't need $50,000, or I would give you $50,000. My whole life, though, I was like, oh man, if only my parents believed in me. If only I had $50,000. If only I was a trust fund baby. If only I had, you know, a Mercedes or something, then I could really build it and attract people. And there's something to be said. I think having nice things is great if you earned it through the business and working your butt off, because now behind it there's a little bit of substance. And then you'll have to be careful, because a lot of people could be attracted to your lifestyle, but then they don't want to do what you did to get there. But ultimately, in order to get whatever your dream is, and I think, you know, you'll outgrow a lot of those things, but that's the beautiful thing about hitting your goals, right? Is outgrowing them and having new goals. I haven't been a car guy in a really long time, but I do love Rolls Royce. I think they're comfortable, they're safe, nice little status symbol. But you're not going to recruit people because you have a nice car. You're going to recruit people if you have a little bit of substance that you've acquired along the way by doing the work. Somebody asked Sean at the event, what book does he read and this and that, and he pretty much talked about how he values productive activity more nowadays. You know, the personal development is great. You'll get inspired by it, but there comes a time where it's got to be productive activity over personal development. I tell my guys an hour in the field beats 40 hours in the classroom.
Yep.
A lot of the stuff you're going to hear, it's going to go over your head, and you're not going to truly understand it unless you implement it and try. And a lot of people are scared to pick up the phone and dial or to try because they're scared of the outcome. And you just got to just go for it, baby.
Yeah.
It's going to come.
Yeah. Now when you started, you were hesitant to work with us because you heard a lot of negative things about us.
Sure.
And you also heard negative things about integrity.
Sure.
What did you discover and why'd you end up working with us? And what, like, you got to be around Sean Mike, who runs Family First Life. What are your thoughts on the company after working here, seeing for yourself, working with people to see if they're helpful, and like really getting a feel for what's going on?
I mean, I'll be completely honest. I've never been around this level of leadership. You know, it's real, it's raw, and I'm just blessed to be in the room. I want to get back to, you know, building a personal brand. For me, Instagram started out by being a way where I could track my activity and document it. So back in 2018, 2019,
journey,
I would post being in my Camry or Prius, and I'm in the field every single day. I barely got 200 views on my stories. But it was an accountability tool for me because I needed to know I'm working and I needed to document it. And I'm so glad I did, because now I can go back through my gallery and there isn't a single day where I'm not in the field, putting up a sale, doing this, doing that. And, you know, for anybody that's attracted by the flash, it's like, hey, you want to see what it took to get there? And, you know, you recruit these 100 people and none of them are still in the business, and that's okay, and so on and so forth. So I would say use social media to document your journey, and eventually it can turn into a lot more if you focus on it. It's funny, I read somewhere that it's the thing you want to do the least of in your business that you probably need to pay some attention to. And I used to be allergic to social media. I still am in a way. Like if you're actually well off, you probably don't even have an Instagram, and you definitely don't care to post. But we are in the people business. We are, you know, there's got to be something to be said for attraction marketing, piquing and approaching interest, and it's kind of wild how the world is changing, and how many people you can meet and impact, you know. But for you guys out there, like, think about it. Am I consuming social media or am I creating? You know, am I adding value or just getting brainwashed? And it's interesting. Like, it takes you 2 seconds to like and share and comment and support people. And it takes you another 10 minutes to post your activity. And it's wild because 99% of people just won't do it. And we talked about this earlier. Commitment and consistency over time beats talent and skill. Commitment and consistency over time. It's not because you post a couple stories and make a couple posts for a week, a month, or whatever that you deserve anything or that it's not working. You know, you look at all these guys that talk to you about content, the amount of time and effort and energy and years they've put into it before we ever noticed, before they ever got traction. Yep. It's real.
Yeah, they always used to tell me, don't compare yourself to another sales guy who has 20 years of grinding that you didn't get to see. Wow. And that it's not an overnight success. They'd always tell me that because a new guy would come in, he'd smoke me because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's brand new, he's killing me. And they're like, bro, this guy's been grinding for 20 years. You just started.
Everyone's a 20-year overnight success. Another thing people do is the second someone has success or has a result, they have to say, yeah, but. 99% of people are making excuses for other people's success and excuses for their lack of success. And now you close yourself off versus being like, oh, wow, that guy's killing it. And you get inspired.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, well, he just had a bunch of money to buy leads, or oh, he's best friends with Nina and Hayden, or oh, whatever. You know, don't make excuses. Get inspired.
Now you're doing this with people. You're not just recruiting people. You're in Zoom with them. You're recruiting, helping them recruit. You're very involved.
Belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball in the trenches. Do it with them and for them until they can do it without you. But make sure that they want it. You can't want it for them more than they want it for themselves. You got to meet them where they're at.
Yeah, you can't get the wrong person to do this, and you can't stop the right person from doing this.
Amen.
Yeah. All right, now Hayden and Nina have a very good track record. Like when they invest their time and energy into something, it does very well. You obviously have a crazy work ethic. You guys are doing this with him, right?
100%. All day, every day.
They're the first people. I mean, it's to me, it's wild and it's shocking how involved they are. And one of the biggest things I've gotten out of Nina and Hayden is their mindset, how positive they are. Like anybody that gets around them is going to leave the room feeling better and empowered. And I definitely need to work on that. And I'll tell you, Nina's pretty powerful because I find myself asking myself, would Nina approve of this? Would she be okay with it? She's kind of like raised the standard for how I want to live my life and carry myself as well.
Wow.
Damn, let's go.
Wow.
You're a leader, you know? It is what it is.
And she's just starting, dude.
Yeah.
When was our first podcast in here?
Dude, I was thinking about that. We haven't been in here. I think our agency might have just hit like $1 million a month.
Dude, so we had a little white table, some cameras that you use for skateboarding, and but we were crushing with that setup. We loved that setup.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
2021.
2021.
Dang.
Damn, time flies.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
2021.
You still look the same though.
The wrist.
Oh, I haven't aged at all.
No.
Dude, I was 24. We were 24 when we started FFL. We're 30. It's crazy.
Still young.
Yeah. Kyle Yee the other day said, I don't hire people over 24. I said, so you wouldn't hire me? He goes, no, sorry.
You know what's crazy though? Like
episode 87.
Oh, you guys were the 87th episode.
Wow.
The crazy thing is like you kind of attract who you are. And now I'm attracting all these people that they have kids. And they're like, bro, I want to change my family's life. I don't just want to change mine. So now you have you could recruit younger kids. Like we were all 18, had a dream, want to go crush it, change the trajectory of what anyone in our family ever thought we can do. But then you also have another opportunity where it's like you got people, maybe they're married, they have kids, they have bills, and they want to change their life for their kids or their family or whatever the situation is. So now I'm getting a lot of those calls.
Yep.
Which I enjoy that a lot.
For sure. Because it's more than just them.
Yeah. And then you got people who it's a single mom. They're recruiting single moms. You got it, dude, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But if you want to work with us and with this team, Edmund, how can they reach you?
Edmund Bayard on Instagram.
Warning, he's standing on top of a Rolls Royce on Las Vegas Boulevard throwing money at people.
It's AI. And don't do that. It's dangerous.
Yeah, that's one of the videos that I saw that somebody sent me. Like, it's legit. But you probably got a lot of people to watch it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to just give you guys the substance, but then no one cares and no one watches. I'll hover around 2.5 million views or whatever, and then if I go on vacation, it doubles. If you do something that's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that, it goes up even more.
All right, we got to wrap this up, but how do you get over not caring what people think about you?
If you care about what other people think about you, you'll never be successful. You gotta get over it. First of all, no one cares and no one's watching, and they forget about you the second they saw you. We live in a crazy world, so no one cares.
I saw a post the other day. Andrew, try to remember 3 posts that you saw on Instagram yesterday.
Yeah.
You probably can't.
I might be able to, but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. You can't really remember off the top of your head. So it's like, why would you care? People aren't really going to remember it.
I mean, everyone's different. I don't think there's any need to take yourself too seriously, and just, live your life and try to leave an impact.
Yeah, my friend was like, the Queen of England died, and a few days later, everybody was just like, what's for lunch today?
That's right. That's right.
Because you're right, dude. They don't care. Everybody's worried about themselves. So you could post whatever you want and they might be, haha, that's funny, but they're not sitting there thinking about you.
And your haters love you. I mean, they're talking about you. And I can't even tell you how many top producers I've been able to build a business with thanks to my haters that have been like, look at this guy. And then next thing you know, I get more eyeballs, they tune in. And then 2 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, we end up connecting and doing business together. Yeah. And it's like, oh, how did you meet me? Oh, actually, this guy was saying bad things about you. And I started looking at your Instagram, and then I thought it was funny. And, now we're here.
Yep.
Straight out of Compton, that scene where they get sued and the government says how bad they are. And then they're like, all publicity is good publicity because they sold a record amount of albums that week.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where, like, if you've heard anything about FFL and blah, 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 just show up to convention on January 28th. It'll be the best thing you ever did. You'll thank me for it. The first thing I thought when I was at Ignite on October 3rd is, why wasn't I in that room in 2023? And privy to this level of leadership, to this opportunity, to the energy in this room, to all of it. So got to be in the room, and you got to be in the right room. And there's so much opportunity in America. It's a blessing, but it's also a curse because you don't really know what direction to go into. And at the end of the day, people end up joining the person that spends the most amount of time with you. But you have to understand, like, Hayden, Nina, they're not going to spend more than 15 minutes convincing you of anything. So you got to seek and you shall find. You got to show up, do your homework, and before joining the next little IMO or getting the best, margin or whatever it is you're going to do, show up to check out this opportunity on January 28th.
See it for yourself.
In Dallas, and see it for yourself, baby.
Yeah. Cool. All right, bro. We're gonna do this again with some updates. So I'm excited to see what we build together. One thing I want to say before we wrap it up: the thing I'm most impressed with you about is the fact that you're super humble.
Yes. Coming
into a new industry, even though you've been successful before, and that's rare. You don't see that.
Oh, we'll see. Time either promotes you or exposes you. I think you have to have a burning desire to actually add value. You guys have given so much thus far. Put your best foot forward, and I just want to be able to reciprocate. And you got to stress for success. This stuff doesn't happen on its own. Like you got to just make sure that you're doing your part. People will show up for you when you show up for yourself, and you can't just I have guys that'll randomly call me on a Sunday because they're finally ready to look at something and they don't understand it. And it's like, bro, where were you on Monday morning at 9 a.m.?
Mm-hmm. Crazy. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. And we'll update you with this new journey with this new team. See you guys.